Hey everybody, welcome back to Tara's Books and Beyond, and day 1 of VEDUS. For today's readings, I got through the first 4 scenes of The Phantom of Venice, and the first story from a Certain Point of View, which is Raymus by Gary Whitta. Raymus follows the final moments of Captain Raymus Antilles, not related to Wedge Antilles. He's the guy who Vader choked out at the beginning of A New Hope. He's the captain of the Tanto IV, which is the diplomatic ship that Leia was on with the droids and the plans and all that fun stuff at the beginning of Star Wars, and this just bridges the gap between Rogue One and A New Hope. It starts immediately after Rogue One, follows them through the lightspeed jump, and ends just as Vader is boarding the ship and starts to interrogate and kill the other rebellion officers there. Through Raymus's eyes, we're able to see the importance of the rebellion for a lot of people and how a lot of them never really knew whether what they did for the rebellion was gonna end in a success or not, but they were all committed to it and they knew how important it was, and a lot of them, even though they died with hope in their hearts that somehow they would have made a difference, that somehow the rebellion is going to eventually succeed, which is really interesting. But it's also pretty much everything that was covered in Rogue One, and so it's not a bad story necessarily, but it really doesn't cover any new ground, so it's good, but it's not great. So that short story I can only really give 3 stars to. Now, the first 4 scenes of William Shakespeare's Star Wars were much more interesting, because it's not just how Ian Dozier translates the Star Wars dialogue into Shakespearean that's interesting, it's also the way that he expands on things, and some of them are really funny. For example, remember the big fish that they had to go past when they were going through the core of Naboo? The Silo monster and the Opie monster, they're now both Sith Lords, and the Sando monster was sent by the Jedi Council. So instead of just random fish, it's now some kind of devious assassination plot that gets thwarted, that still comes out of nowhere. Also, Jar Jar is now some kind of revolutionary who is trying to unite the peoples of the Gungans and the Nabooan humans and show them that they are more powerful together instead of divided. But all of this we only learn in his aside monologue, because when he's talking to everyone else, he still acts like the crazy, stupid idiot that we all have come to expect him to be. So he pretends to be the fool in order to convince them to take sympathy on him, and then eventually convince Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon that they can unite the Gungan and Nabooan peoples and help that fight the Trade Federation. Also, remember how all the battle droids would be constantly going Roger, Roger? Well, now they go forsooth, which technically means the same thing, but it is not nearly as easy to say as Roger, Roger, which somehow just makes it even more funny. Also, there is reference to death and taxes, which I was not expecting, considering that idiom doesn't show up until a century after Shakespeare's time. But, you know, it worked. And that's everything I've got for you today, but be sure to subscribe to my channel as well as following me on Instagram and Goodreads for more updates as I vlog every day until Star Wars. And until next time, I'll see you all later.